be discussing the important question, which says that how can government, businesses, and even the civil societies organization and youth people can come together to prepare for the next generation for an uncertain and rapidly changing of the world of the so I would like each and every person to begin and to because it's all about discussion. So my say on this, I can just say that the future of the work is involving technology, climate change, globalization. So for that reason, we all understand that there is no anything institute can solve these challenges alone. So understand that the government creates policies and the businesses create job and innovations, and even the civil society strengthen communities. So as now, the ideas, energy, and creativity. So when these sectors work together, a strong and inclusive societies is to encourage each and every person to think about how I myself, as a young person, I can be partnership in my own society. So before we begin, let me just introduce our keynote speakers. Let me just access the documents we were shared with. So and our keynote speakers, I'm not sure you see the document, but I think here we have the Reeti and Victoria. I don't know if that's correct. Teacher? So is Reeti here with us?
Yes. Hi. Am I audible?
Yes, you
Hi.
are.
Good evening. Good
Yes,
afternoon.
please. You can just introduce yourself.
Thank you so much for having me on this panel discussion. My name is Reeti Prakash. I am the founder of a social impact venture from India. And we work at the intersection of public policy, sustainable development goals, and our work further branches out towards skilling and capacity building of the right stakeholders. We also work with the on-ground communities across the world, and we try to bring a sustainable solution to every unique problem and every unique challenge.
Okay, thank you for that introduction. So I'll be introducing speaker 2, where we have Victoria. I don't know if she's that, please. You can just introduce yourself.
Hello, confidence. Hi, everyone. All right, so just to be sure you can hear me. Thank you so much, confidence. My name is Victoria from Nigeria. I am currently the project manager and founder of Match to Sustainability. And I think the conversations we're having here are awesome. And I look forward to this session.
Okay. Thank you so much, each and every person who have introduced themselves. So the next step, I think now we are going into the main. where we will be having the open questions and even we will have to discuss them. So the question it's all about the climate change and even the changing of job markets. So because here we are talking about the future-proof leadership, so I would like to ask anyone who is ready about when you hear like what does the future-proof leadership means to you, and what one quality should you should do so that encourage each person, the youth, the leader to develop today.
High confidence. Could you please
I
repeat?
don't know who is ready to go.
Could you please repeat the question?
The question that I would like to ask is that what does future-proof leadership means to you, and what you can do to encourage every young leader to develop today. Is the question clear?
If I have the permission of my fellow panelists, I would like to start the discussion here. Great.
Right.
I
You have the
think when
floor.
Thank you so much, Victoria. So I think when we talk about future-proof leadership, we talk about the demographic dividend we all have across global South and global North countries. We talk about democracy. We talk about voicing out a collective concern of general human development across different fronts. It can be on the lines of education. It can be about skilling. It can be about finding the right representation for a community at large on a global level. So if we talk about the right skills, I think the first skill would be for any future leader would be to be a great listener. A great listener is, of course, the becomes a better presenter and someone who can advocate actively for any public cause. Second skill which really comes to our mind is having a cross sectional functionality. In this session, like in this time and age, we stand at a pedestal where specialists no longer serve a greater good for mankind. We stand at a pedestal where a person has to be a great lawyer, a good advocate for rights, an excellent teacher, and an outstanding listener. And only then, I think, after combining these skills and of course more, can a person, in my humble opinion, be a leader for the future generations.
Okay, thank you so much for your answer. It's quite good. The only thing that I would like to add on what you have said is that future-proof leadership, for my understanding, I believe that is the ability to guide organizations. Because here we are talking about the changing of the world, how the technology is changing the world, the climate change. So it's the leadership is the ability to guide the organization through how technology and environmentally shift by replacing like planning, where we have real-time adaptations. So that's the only thing I can just add from my end. I don't know if there's any other person who can contribute, or if you have any other different answers from what we shared. You're welcome, Victoria.
All right, so just to add a little to what she said, I'm just going to say that future-proof leadership, in the larger sense, is ensuring that young people are prepared for the future based on the trends that are existing now. So when I think of future-proof leadership, I think of, okay, so we're thinking technology, we're thinking artificial intelligence. How do we protect the young leaders of today, who of course would be leaders tomorrow? How do we prepare them for that future? How do we get them immersed? So I think that's what I'm just going to add to the current discourse.
If I can jump
Okay.
in, because I had some
Yes,
tech
please.
issues and I didn't have an opportunity to introduce myself. Peace, everyone. It's an honor to be part of this panel and this global event. I appreciate it very much. My name is Dinash Lal. I'm the founder and chief strategist of P2 Solutions. I'm a civic tech practitioner and systems thinker based out of Buffalo, Niagara region of New York State of the United States. I founded P2 Solutions to help communities and institutions use data, AI, and with the explicit purpose of being cross-sectoral, developing cross-sectoral frameworks to solve real problems. So we're focusing on a lot of different things, but they'll come out throughout the process here as we continue on. Just to kind of hit upon the questions here, what I'm seeing is that in order to future-proof the leadership from our youth into the future, we have to reframe and we have to get away from this idea of trying to predict the future. What we want to do is prepare youth for any type of future. And so there are some normal things that we've done throughout civilization, including adaptation, resiliency. And so we need to embed those, what used to be considered soft skills, and make them more priority. So with emerging technology, what we're seeing is a shift from a hyper-focused, hyper-specialization more to a generalist approach. And the way I like to see it is we're using technology to revisit, rediscover our humanity and how to better collaborate and coordinate and work with one another because we're in it together.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Danish, for the perfect answer you have said. And I believe each and everyone, we have all contributed, and that's what really needed. So maybe later on we'll have to hear from the discussions for that. For those who are following us, maybe later on we'll just hear from them. So the second question that I would like to ask is that since the first question was about climate change and the world, how is it changing? So the question number two, I can just I need us focusing on the governments, businesses, NGOs and youth organizations often work independently, where they have to work in different ways. So from your experience, what prevents effective collaboration between these sectors, and how can we overcome those barriers?
If I can jump in, if that's all right with my panelists, co-panelists here. I actually have a career, and again, sorry for the technological difficulties here prior to, but part of my introduction, I would have also shared with you that I have 20 plus years in the public sector. That's municipal government, nonprofit, NGO work, human services, as well as tech startup. And so I have navigated those, I guess, different sectors. And there's a common thread that weaves all of those together, and that's we're all working for the community. Even in the private sector, even though that we have a bottom line, we're at a point in our, I guess, civilizational development where with emerging technology, with global and social unrest, where I have a all hands on deck moment where we need to recognize that the same market that we're able to derive a profit from is the same market that if we don't cultivate, if we don't develop, if we don't give the means to purchase our services and goods, we're no longer going to have a market. And so we have to have a more holistic approach and a what I was alluding to before, instead of hyper specialization, we have to have more of a generalist approach. And what that includes and the characteristics that you can pull from that, you have to have a mindset that's more towards integration, more towards how do you navigating these different systems. There is no more opportunity to be siloed in your specific domain and discipline. there is a tremendous need in order to understand what others are working on so that you can actively and proactively seek out linkages so that you can work together to solve today's problems.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Danish. That's quite good. So before I jump in, I would like anybody else who is ready to contribute, kindly, between Victoria and Reeti.
Hi, I completely agree with my co-panelists' point of view here that we are in an age where being a generalist and a person who wears multiple hats really matters when we are out there to create an impact in any front. Along with that, I feel we should also talk about the idea of frictional unemployment, where you have a group of people looking for employment and then you have a group of companies giving employment, but there's no channel of communication there. So through these various, if I were to call it a value chain or a supply chain of extensive communication, I think a creation of a very robust connective connection network can be established here. And apart from that, an idea of accountability from every stakeholder which becomes a part of the process can also be established while looking at this topic.
Okay, thank you so much. You have really touched on something which is much important, where we have bad communication, right? So I believe that different goals and lack of trust and bad communication prevent the government's young organizers to work together, because government moves slowly due to this strict rules, while businesses focusing on mostly on making money quickly. So in order, these differences mindsets cause groups to disengage each others to hide their data. So to fix this problem, I believe that these groups must create goals that benefit each and everyone at the same time. They need to set up a regularly open meeting, like to share data, to build trust. So if there is that poor communication, I believe there will be together. But if there are regular meeting, communicating openly, and able to share data, so they can be able to build trust, because this can provide money, and even governments can change the laws. So this is where they have collaboration. They have doing the updation about how the program have said, and each and every, maybe if Victoria has something you can like to add on that discussion.
Oh, just so I'm clear, confident. Just so I'm clear,
okay.
The question exactly you're asking.
Okay, thank you so much. So we can just move. Our time is limited. Yes?
Okay.
Danish, do you have anything to say?
No, I thought Victoria was trying to clarify your last question. That's us.
Yes, I was trying to clarify the question.
Okay, the last but not the least question I would like to discuss is that it's about innovations. We all know that innovation is often driven by the partnership. So when the innovation is often driven by the partnership, my question now is that can you share each and everyone who is ready? Can you please share one example where collaborations between sectors created measurable impact? That's for your experience. If you intended to to involve in that scenario? So you can just share with us.
I want to give Victoria an opportunity to speak if she would like to.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, please.
Dinash. Okay, so an example very quickly of how innovation in partnerships based on my experience. Let me give an example. Over time, I've had the opportunity to work with government. I work in a bit of legal, so I've had the opportunity to work in policy design. And I'd like to say that for young people, most of the time we are brought to the fore. We're like placards, but then we're not actually inserted into the procedure itself. So one of the things that WeHop was trying to do, that's the organization I was working with at that time, they created a structure and a system where we could actually monitor that this prospective policy was going to be enacted. So it was a watertight system to ensure that that policy was enacted. That's just an example of one of the ways that innovation could be applied to these partnerships. So monitoring and evaluation is one of the important ways. That's what I'm just trying to say.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Dinash, do you have anything to add on that?
Yes, I have a live example that I've actually recently completed in the last few months, and I went ahead in the chat and provided a link. I worked with, well, let me just preface with the key partnerships that I see moving forward is directly with the citizenry, with people, particularly the youth. So there's always room for partnership through NGO to NGO, government to nonprofit. That's an ongoing affair. And as Reeti mentioned before, accountability is key in that relationship development. So we as partners should be holding each other accountable to be doing the work of the mission and goals that we're publicly espousing. But I think the key partnerships that I'm seeing and I'm actively developing is in this example that I worked with college students, graduate students focusing on data analysis. Now, this individual that I was working with had an interest in a skill set that they wanted to deploy, but didn't have the conceptual framework and experience to apply it to any specific domain. And so that's where we in the practitioner realm can turn back around and connect with the youth. That's a perfect ground of filling a gap, because now we can give them our background and experience, the structure needed in order for them to deploy their skills. So this individual had no background, excuse me, in education or civics or public policy, but I do. And so powered with a data analysis by my side, I was able to take his skills and introduce him to an arena where his skills could produce value, not just for himself, but his community and for youth coming behind him. And so what he did was take his skills and apply it to our local school district. I'm in the city of Buffalo, which is the second biggest city in New York State after New York City, of course. And we have our second largest school district in Buffalo. It's $1 billion school district. And unfortunately, we have some performance issues there. And so what we want to do is see, well, are we adequately resourced? What is our funding? And so our student dived right in, take a look at the publicly available data and created analyses that allows him to speak confidently, comfortably to parents, teachers, students, and bring in that civic engagement, increase that dialogue that's needed in order for what, again, Reeti was mentioning, the accountability piece to happen, right? Because a lot of times we are focused on holding systems accountable, and that's key. But we have to also hold ourselves accountable. And so we have to recognize that oftentimes our participation is not where it should be. And here in the US, in order for our representative form of democracy to work, we have to have an informed and participating citizenry. And so if you're not informed, if you don't know what the budget's like, how it's being allocated, and if you're not participating with that knowledge, then you're going to not be able to hold accountable those authorities who are overseeing and stewarding the the resources necessary to educate and prepare our children for the future. And so it's that fundamental. So my focus is wherever I can, try to connect directly and partner directly with those who are coming right behind us.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for the wonderful insight you've shared with us, all of you. The only thing that I can just add on that is that examples of this, like where currently I am, there is a digital marketing and e-commerce partnership in Kakuma. So I don't know if you have ever heard about Kakuma. This initiative brings together, it's a marketing agents, so brings together the international agencies and global development partners. So where the local refugees lead organization to help youth, like to help youth people found modern work. So where they have to work online. So you see now they have come together, partnership together, and allowing the member of the communities, the youth, to work together, found work together. So by working together, each sector, since they have partnership, each sector brings a unique strength into to the table, where the international agencies, which is the International Trade Center, bring in the fundings, the laptops, and so on, and even advance the training program. Now, these lead refugee organizations, groups, like we have so many of them here, so manages the digital hubs on the ground and connect directly with the communities. So I believe this is what now we are discussing on. The combination of effort has created the measurable impact by the training thousands of people, especially the youth, in digital literacy. So you see now, when they come together in digital literacy, content creation, and so on. So this is where now them for this discussion, because we have been given 25 minutes. So maybe I would like to go through, you can just drop even your question to the chat. We'll have to go through it.
I'm sorry, that was really choppy on my end. I'm not exactly sure what we're doing right now.
Pardon?
I think he's opening the floor for questions.
The floor is from the audience. If there happens, the audience question, contribute, remarks, anything to add on, or where
Can someone from the team take over the moderation? I think his network is really bad.
Are you able to hear me? Confidence, I think we're having a hard time hearing you because your network is breaking. So essentially, I think
you need a
All right, so there's
Very
a
good.
question.
Yes, please.
Someone has asked, can I proceed?
Yes, please.
All right, so someone has asked, as AI, automation, and digital technologies reshape labor markets, how can cross-sector partnerships ensure that young people are not only prepared for future jobs, but also empowered to create the jobs of the future? Okay, so I'm just going to repeat that again. As AI, automation, and digital technologies reshape labor markets, how can cross-sector partnerships ensure that young people are not just prepared for future jobs, but also empowered to create the jobs of the future? I'm going to give the floor to Reeti you could take that question.
Thank you so much, Victoria. I think I'd like to go back to the idea of people being generalist when we were talking about future-ready leadership. So as AI continues and will always for the next 4 to 5 years at least, will continue to change how our markets look at a global level. I think it's very important to continuously keep on upskilling and understanding the recent and the most latest wave of AI as we move ahead. And I think that is how we can, as a successful workforce across the globe, we can navigate in the right direction.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to give the floor to you, Dinash, to answer that, to share your thoughts on that.
Sure, and I agree with Reeti, and I'd love to connect with both of you afterwards if we can, just kind of talk shop if you guys are up for it. But I'd take a step back before I even take a look at partnerships in the traditional sense, and I always kind of pivot right back to how do we have this engagement if the accountability piece is not there? And the accountability piece comes from the people that we're serving in the community that these people comprise of. And so if people are not participating, if they don't see the incentive, they don't see the value, if we're not encouraging that public discourse, then we can't hold these organizations, institutions accountable. And, you know, of course, we like to have some level of faith in them, but I come from an American democratic experience. So we have a healthy distrust of our government, and that's warranted. The idea is to trust but verify, you know, to hold accountable, to ask questions, to be involved, so that those who are charged with our stewardship of our resources or governance over us are making the decisions that best serve our interests. So I'm just saying, maybe take a step back so that we can make sure that we're having a authentic and sincere, inclusive conversation, as opposed to a conversation about us by others.
If I can step in, Victoria, would you like to contribute something as well? I know you've been asking the questions, but is there anything you'd like to share as well? Just add on to the conversation.
Okay, so I think that in addition to everything you've said, based on the question, how do we not just prepare them for future jobs, but empower them now to create the jobs for the future? Skill acquisition is important. So in this partnership development, we need to connect young people to the organizations, to the systems that can expand their scope, expand their skill sets, you know, just like he said, we should not overgeneralize, but then we should give them room to grow. But then most especially, let's focus a little on ensuring that young people are well aware, are well involved, and well accessed. You know, they have access enough.
Victoria, I think we've lost you there.
I'm truly sorry, guys. My network was not stable. So I think we lost Victoria.
I would for this to end on a technical issue. If I could just throw in 3 lines to see if this can wrap it up. But feel free, Reeti, if you want to jump in. You know, youth bring proximity to the real issues and problems that we're dealing with. Adults bring the structure and the experience. AI brings the acceleration. So by bringing it all together, we have what could be a controlled for future that we can kind of dictate and write our own story, as opposed to letting these forces operate on their own. Reeti, please wrap us up.
I think I completely agree with you here. Youth, adults, and AI stand as the three pivotal axes here when we talk about the employment and the leadership of the future. And AI is one, I would say, a revolutionary idea which can be used in every field, whether it be about non-governmental organizations, whether it be about on-ground workers, whether it be about the governments, or even, let's say, a very technical field of, let's say, finance marketing. And having the right skill set with the youth and the right experience with the adults, and I think that's how, like, if we include all three elements together, is how we can definitely move ahead on a sustainable pace.
There's actually another question here, which is quite interesting. So I know we're talking about, there's a question that says, how can young people then influence the decisions? Because there's talk about influence here. So how exactly do we influence the decisions?
I'd like to go first, if that's okay with Dinesh.
Yeah, you can.
So I think here I'd like to take the example of how things happen here in India, being the largest democracy across the globe, and of course being the most populous nation here as well. We talk about formalized institutions where youth are given the right pedestal, they are given the right voice with the right skill set. And I think if we combine these three elements, youth can definitely act as key stakeholders in not just policy formulation. They can work actively towards policy implementations through different schemes, and of course help the government and different companies create a very healthy ecosystem of an active feedback mechanism that will always act as an accelerator of evolution for multi-stakeholder policies. Dinesh, if you'd like to take over.
Yes, please. I think, of course, I agree, but I'm always taking one step back just so that we can make sure we have, a concentrated focus on the human element. And for me, the human element right now, from my reading of global civic participation, it's waning. It's up and down. It's lower than it should be. We need more folks involved. And so there's a value proposition, that gap that needs to be filled. Why aren't folks involved? Why aren't they participating? And that could do a lot with confidence in the institutions that are governing them. And so if we want to bridge that gap, I guess we have to focus in on how do we incentivize getting participation. And so Reeti was mentioning structural changes, and I'm all in favor of that. That makes complete sense. I also wanted to do a multi-pronged approach. While we're working on the structural, putting resource, attention, and effort behind that, we also want to address mindset. And one area that I'm finding in my work with younger folks is there seems to be a lack of self-awareness, and that lack of self-awareness leads to a lack of confidence. And when you don't have identity, you don't have purpose. And when you don't have purpose, you're lacking intention. And when you're lacking intention, your proactive agent is missing. And so what we want to do is focus on helping youth recognize that they have a embedded, fundamental, and unique self-worth and value without expertise, without studying, without doing it. Now, when they do all those other things like study and develop themselves and refine their skills and develop these durable skills needed for tomorrow's workforce, fantastic. Now you're unstoppable, but you inherently have value. Your inherent value is your proximity to these issues and problems. And so your insight, your intimate experiences, by channeling and communicating those to structures and organizations and institutions, then there can be an analysis that can lead to a synthesis of solutions that come. So your voice is a necessity. It's not an extra. It's not an add-on. It's not a cherry on top. It's a fundamental part of the formula in order for us to be successful as a global community, as individual communities.
Okay, thank you so much. The only thing that I would like to add on that is that our brother here is asking how young people can like could influence the decision making. So I think when we start our discussion, we said that the youth people have the fresh idea with the unique creativity. So these young people can change decision making by taking the actions. That's the first thing, taking the actions in their communities. So when people let's just take this scenario, when they vote for the same goals, the leaders now who are leading that particular communities must listen to them, because this young generation, these young people, they come with a fresh mind, unique creativity, how they want things to be done. So a youth can also run for a local office, like to help to make change, to help in making laws, and so on. So by sitting at the table with the decision makers, I believe that they can ensure that young voices are part of the final plans. So that's the only thing I can add on that. Thank you. So I don't think if there is any question in the chat. So I think there's no any other question.
I think maybe.
Yes, please.
Oh no, you can go ahead. I thought you had ended session.
I was about to say that I think there's no another question in the chat, and the time is right up. So our discussion, what I can just simply say, I can just try to summarize what we discussed in that only 3 important messages. So here we talked about the future. We look at the future. We discussed that the future cannot be built by one sector alone. So it requires partnership among the government and young people. That's the key point. The second is that young people should not wait for for the leadership opportunities. The only thing you have to do as a young person, as a young leader, you should actively create those opportunities. How can you create those opportunities? Through the innovations, collaborations, and even a service offer. That's how you can create opportunities. Don't just wait for opportunities to come. Instead, as a young person who has that a fresh mind, a unique creative idea, can create the opportunities for your community. The third is that leadership is about impact. So the partnership, for instance, the partnership we could build today will determine the opportunities available for the future generation. Like, what do I mean about this when saying this term? So when you are in a person who can just innovate something, you are creating the opportunities for the next generation. So the decision that we make as a young leader will determine the opportunities which will be available for the future generation. So that's the thing that I have right now. And I could likely, maybe if one of you have something to contribute, a key takeaway for our audience.
I think all my ideas and all the discussions have been perfectly summed up by confidence here. But I think, as an ending thought, I'd just say that innovation is something which comes from an individual, works as a wave which goes on to collect more like minded people, and with the help of the right authorities and with the right institutions, can be implemented into real life solutions. Dinesh, if you'd like to add anything else to it.
Sure. Speaking to an audience, global audience of youth, I think it's key to reiterate self-awareness. Know about yourself, know about your interests, know about your strengths, know about areas of improvement. And by developing a sense of who you are, you'll be able to navigate and set a course that is not a default, is not driven by external agenda, but driven by you. And so what you want to do is recognize and not spend the next 20, 30 years finding out later on that what's better than just achieving your goal, but it's also what's more important is how you get there and who you become. And so, yes, might be sounding a little on the corny side, but I'll have to admit to you that I think that's what I honestly believe, that how you get there and who you become is much more important than getting to your destination. So focusing on yourself and your development and developing your character and your values is what's going to get you prepared for the future.
Thank you so much. I don't think if we still have another agenda to discuss on, maybe Madam Shisha can just direct us before we give a word of thanks to each and every person who participated.
Okay, thank you so much, Confidence, and thank you to all our panelists. Honestly, the time actually felt short. We're really looking forward to just hearing more from our speakers, but it's really been an honor having you here as part of our panelists, and we are definitely looking forward to networking with you. If it's possible, maybe you can tell us in the chats how we can network with you or how we can reach out to you. I believe even our participants would like to know how we can get in touch with you. Otherwise, due to time, I think we can just end the session here, but it's really been an amazing session, and we can just quickly transition into our next session. So thank you to the moderator and thank you to the panelists as well. It's really been an honor. And